fantastic. This is GT racing right now.
He's got traction, he's got with the outside, both of them! Maloney!
Oh, he's taken Anderson! Anderson's up the
Oh my God! Oh. Big crash! Oh my goodness, half the field's going to get rolled!
It's very close. These guys are going to want to make their way through the field very quickly. Oh, there we go! Oh no! That's massive! This is it! This is over! I can't believe this! Oh my God!
God, what?
Are you spending a lot of time looking for setups and struggling for faster lap times? Are you tired of searching online for answers? Would you like to get setups, analysis and tutorials from some of the best sim racers in the world like Ralph Haller, Mitchell de Jong, Martin Krunker, Josh Rogers and many more? If so, virtualracingschool.com is the answer you've been looking for. VRS data packs provide hot laps from our professional coaches for you to analyse and replicate. They provide tutorials that walk you through the fastest laps and what the pros did to achieve the best times. And they provide the setups you need to ensure your car is competitive in both oval and road racing. If you're ready to get faster and reach more podiums sooner than later, just go to virtualracingschool.com and sign up for a free account today.
Barcelona, a track that is very well known for its Grand Prix racing throughout the years in Formula One, as well as home to being the likes of MotoGP and various other races. But tonight we're going to be going racing in Mazda MX-5. So what's going to be the final round of the season for the Simworx Roadster Rumble here at Catalonia. It's going to be very, very fascinating to see who we're going to be crowning a champion and who's possibly going to steal a win or two with this very, very long track, and one that seems to put up a lot of good racing no matter what the car. I'm Cameron Dance, joined by Scott Fountain on the cameras and alongside me as well. Fonty, it's looking like we're going to be in for a really cracker of a race. Yeah, absolutely. We've seen in numerous series across here on iRacing what this track is very well capable of, and one of the longer tracks as well, being 4.65 kilometers. This track probably closer to the likes of Hockenheim and Co., the few Grand Prix tracks we've been to this season in the Simworx Roadster Rumble. So it's going to be very, very fascinating to see what's going to happen. And we're using the historic layout as well, so only going to be 9 corners on the track, and there is your track info with a pit speed of 80 kilometers an hour, probably on the quicker side as well as far as pit speeds go. So it's going to be very, very interesting to see what's going to happen and when those pit stops come up tonight with the number of races we have and the fact that drivers are going to have to make a pit stop possibly. So we'll have to wait and see, but nevertheless, qualifying is underway, and these Mazdas, not exactly the fastest things around here. It's about just over 2 minutes for a lap time. If you're in the draft, it's just under that if you get a decent one. So it's going to be quite a long race for some of these drivers. May go time certain if we don't complete the 14 laps. We'll see what happens, but nevertheless, it's going to be all about being consistent, maintaining that momentum around this long track, and also using that draft to your advantage.
Yeah, you're exactly right. Apologise to everyone there. I actually had myself muted on my first intro there. So, yes, hello to everybody and welcome to tonight. It's going to be a fantastic event. Got plenty of cars out there on track, which is always great to see. This series always turns it up, and yeah, we have plenty of fun broadcasting it. So, it'll be interesting to see who is on top for tonight. I'm sure we'll see the likes of Lee Harrison right up there, Aaron Oliver. I'm sure they'll be fighting it amongst themselves to take out tonight's win.
Yeah, absolutely. We've seen some very, very good driving from the likes of Lee Harris and Aaron Oliver and a few others across the entire season. It's been the Sonny Cantion show at the front, though, and Brad Ryan being the late one to spoil the party recently with the fact he jumped in only a few rounds in. So it'll be fascinating to see what's going to happen tonight, who's possibly going to take top honors out of those quicker drivers. Obviously, some championships to be decided as well. Sonny Cantion having pretty much one hand on the trophy in the pro stuff, and then Mark Foster being near the pointy end as well in the AM category. So it's going to be all about trying to finish this series off on a high at tonight, and make sure you can get those consistent points, as it's not quite all ruled out, but possibly could see some drama if something goes awry. But come across the line, Sonny Canchin completes his first lap, goes straight to the top of the timesheets, 2-minute 1.263, and currently a little bit ahead of Brad Ryan, who sits just shy of him as well. Not quite a tenth, but it's very, very close at the top nevertheless, and that's very, very close as well from pretty much about fifth on back, with the fact it's all separated by less than a tenth, so some very, very close times up and down the field through this field as well, and a few AMs as well. Mark Foster being very, very quick, currently putting himself just outside the top 10.
Yeah, exactly right. There's plenty of fast drivers, and Sonny Canchin showing his regular pace there, setting early lap times, taking the fastest lap of this qualifying session so far. Good lap for Brad Ryan there in P2. Nick Wood, also a fantastic lap from him. The likes of Ashley Norman out there as well. He's currently sitting P7. Glenn Wood there, P9. P10, just moved back to plenty of drivers in the field here tonight. Looks to be a full field. 35 cars currently have set a lap time at the moment, and yeah, we're still waiting to see a lap time from Lee Harrison be set on the board. He is currently going around on track at the moment. We'll just flick over and see how he's going. Oh, looks like he has completed the lap because he has moved up on my timing sheets.
Yeah, currently hasn't set a representative lap time yet, still yet to complete a full lap time around here. Must have been validated his first lap, but the fact he's now on lap 2, so we'll see what's going to happen on the secondary lap, if he can put himself near the front of the field, or he might have a bit of work ahead of him in the first race, at least coming through the final corner. Very, very fast and flying on one, and one that's going to prove very, very critical as well in the race with the draft trains that we're going to see. Crosses the line, it's a 2-minute 1.100, and that puts him third as Brad Ryan jumps to first, with Sonny Canchin quickly dispersing of him to go straight to the top. So at the moment, it's Sonny Canchin on top, Brad Ryan not too far behind in second. Tane Venables with a very, very respectable lap as well to put himself in a third. Glenn Wood goes quicker as well, so he's moved up into fourth. Lee Harrison's dropped to fifth as a result of those slightly quicker times coming on in on the second laps, and it's very much mixed that order up as a result. But those top 5 very much accustomed to being there, and no surprise that they're up there as well.
Yeah, exactly right. No surprise at all. These guys fight it out week in, week out, and never cease to disappoint us. Good to see Tiny Venables has some pace at this stage, a little bit further up than what we'd normally see him. He's normally around sort of the 6, 7, 8 mark, but I guess any of these top 10 can make their way up and win races in this series. And Wood sitting there in fourth. Lee Harrison, P5, good start for him. Disappointing first lap, obviously dropped the wheel off at some point and invalidated that lap, but yeah, this track is awesome for any race car, and yeah, these guys certainly know how to battle pretty fast and furious out there on track. So yeah, I can't wait for these races tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to be very, very fast-paced and very, very action-packed as well, with the likes of the fact that this track is very, very flowing, and obviously these MX-5s not really the fastest things or have any sort of aero, so aero wash not really going to be a big problem at all for the drivers tonight, so they're just going to be able to throw it into every single corner they can and utilize the amount of mechanical grip that they've got. So fully expecting there's going to be a lot of sends and a lot of passing and a lot of possible racecraft coming out of the woodwork as well, with some drivers who might not necessarily be at the front in qualifying, might find themselves getting near the front as well if they can time their moves right and everything, with the fact that this draft is going to be so powerful down that front straight especially through those final 2 corners, because you're going to have such a run all the way down to turn 1, and the fact that you're pretty much flat out from the moment you come out of what's going to be around turn 8. So it's going to be all about timing your runs and making sure you're putting yourself in the right position correctly for the end of the race.
Yeah, exactly right. It's all about positioning yourself for that last lap and setting yourself up for a good slipstream. Looking like all the cars out there have completed. Only got a couple out there still on the circuit, cutting laps, and Jamie Willits is one of those guys out there just coming onto the front straight. hasn't set a lap time as of yet. What will he do? No time for him that one either. So not the greatest of qualifying sessions for Jamie Willits. Joel Proctor, the other one who hasn't set a time for qualifying. So the rest, everyone else there finished up, and not too long left in the session before we crank over into the race.
Yeah, so true. Driver's going to be starting down at the back. Jamie Willits and Joel Proctor. And Proctor, we know, has shown some very, very good pace recently as well. So you'll be one to watch as he moves through the field and up the order across this first race and possibly the second race as well, depending on where he finishes. But qualifying has ticked over, and it is officially over, and we're into the race. So we might as well go through the grid. And on the front row and on pole, it's going to be Sonny Canchin alongside Brad Ryan, Tane Venables, and Glenn Wood. Going to be on row 2 for 3rd and 4th. 5th and 6th on row 3 is going to be Lee Harrison and Caleb Patterson. Moz Moroz and Ashley Norman are going to round out row 4 with Nick Wood and Wayne Losh on row 5, rounding out the top 10. Aaron Oliver and Andrew Hobby will be on the 6th row.
Yep, certainly will be. Then we've got Luke Claver, Mark Foster, Todd George, Steve McMahon, Lucas McAleff, and Damien Seeger running out the 9th row. And we go back to Adam Sharp, Neil McKenzie, Simon Smith, Adam Marinovich, Greg Holmes, Dave Gogol running out row 12.
And you're going to go over the page. Brenton Bull and Matt Van Egmond going to be on row 13, just inside the top 25, with Jesse Carriage and Brody Cook on row 14. And then Anthony Connors and Ben Ferguson on row 15. That is your top 30. And then you go back to Bart Rodkin, Philip Paradiso, Darren Linus, Darren Sharp, and Tony Vesalis, with Brandon McMillan to round out the 18th row of the grid.
There we go. Back to Darren, Tony Dang, Graham Ellis, Matthew McMillan, Carl Goodgear, Wade McKellen, and Ray Raimondo, I think that is.
Yes, you would be correct. And then Proctor and Willits to round out what's going to be this 44 car field, and also a rolling start as well here at Catalonia, rather than a standing start like we've normally seen for majority of this season. Pace car is pulling away, so we are not too far away from seeing the lights turn green. And what's going to be very, very fascinating is what this run is down to turn 1 is going to look like. Is it going to be something that you're not going to actually want to be on pole for, or are you going to actually want to be on pole? Because if Brad Ryan can actually get a decent start, he might be able to hang it around the outside at turn 1 and then get a jump as well. So it'll be fascinating to see what's going to happen. There's a bit of checking up going on the way towards the final 2 corners. But yeah, it's going to be very, very fascinating to see who's going to end up being the leader on the way into turn 1. For all we know, it could possibly be Lee Harrison or Venables, or possibly even Wood. We'll have to wait and see. The pace car has pulled off the circuit into pit lane, so we're going to get racing in a very, very short time as Sonny Canchin leads them towards the green flag, waiting a long time. Green flag is in the air, and finally we are racing, and Brad Ryan with a great jump indeed, as we're all going to scatter right out to the edges of the track, nearly 3 and 4 wide. Further back, Glenn Woods in the middle of the 3 wide. Venables trying to push Sonny Canchin down the inside, and Glenn Woods going to possibly look to make a move on Brad Ryan. Is he going to outbrake him? Not quite. Canchin has to take evasive action, and Canchin nearly goes around half, spins and saves it miraculously. He's off the road though again, and that's going to mean that he's going to drop well down the order. He's going to end up coming out behind Todd George, so he's dropped right to just outside the top 15. Meanwhile, it's all on just further back as Lee Harrison has his teammate of Aaron Oliver all over his tail, gets up the, or tries to get up the inside of Ashley Norman, and is going to nearly make that one work, and he goes around as well.
Oh, there we go. So not a great start there for Lee Harrison. Not certainly the start that he wanted to secure this championship. Yes, Sonny Canchin as well. Big moment there on that start line. Brad Ryan off to a great start there. P1 looks like he's making a little bit of a gap there with Glenn Wood, who's going to look up the inside there into the left-hander. This is going to bring Caleb Patterson and Tiny Venables back into the mix, although Aaron Hobby all over the back of Tiny Venables. He's going to look up the inside and not find any space at this stage.
Yeah, very, very good start for Brad Ryan, and one that was really, really good as well for Glenn Wood to move up 2 spots so far and get up the inside nearly of Brad Ryan on the way into turn 1. So he's had a cracker of a start. A few drivers further back as well, having it not too bad starts. Moving up a few places as there's a little bit of battling going on just down in the mid-pack. Micallef and McKenzie, and also George fighting it out on the way through the final sector. Is up the inside of Gogol is going to go McKenzie. McKenzie trying to make his way on forward and gain a few spots towards Mark Foster. Foster quite a ways up the road though, so he'll need a bit of work to do. Well, he's got a bit of work to do, I should say, to get to the front of the field. One lap finally completed as Norman goes a little bit wide on the exit of the final corner, and that's compromised his run. But Sonny Canchin still coming through the field currently, trying to catch that pack up ahead. He's got a little bit of a gap as well to Todd George, so possibly going to lose that draft if he's not too careful, but certainly not the start that he wanted at all, to drop all the way down to pretty much within reach of the top 10, and he's still got a lot of work to do as side by side through turn 3, Norman and Oliver on the outside, making that outside line work, and Moroz as well, tucked up right in behind Ashley Norman as they head up towards turn 4, and Aaron Oliver going to sweep it around the outside. Norman can have the inside line, but Oliver's going to come back at him on the way into the following corner as he's going to be the inside, and he's going to get that move well and truly done and slot straight in front.
Yep, great move there from Aaron Oliver to move into P6. Great battling between himself and Ashley Norman there. Ashley Norman always a front runner. Having a look back here, Greg Holmes, he's looking pretty racy at this stage. Sitting back there in P20 under a little bit of pressure from Ben Ferguson and Philip Paradiso. They're going to go side by side into the next turn. Philip Paradiso looking to make that move, just not quite close enough though to get it done at that stage. Looking back at the front though, Glenn Wood looking all over the back of Brad Ryan, and had to check up a little bit earlier. This is going to bring Tiny Venables right back into the mix here, and these three are going to want to make a break for it. I think you work with each other to try and break away from P4 and 5, but Caleb Patterson in P4 is having nothing of that at this stage.
Yeah, absolutely. Glenwood harassing the back of Brad Ryan currently, and Patterson not too far behind the car of Tiny Venables as they head down the front straight once again, and Canchin starting to make Moroz currently starting to close that gap to the back of Ashley Norman. There's Sonny Canchin just a little bit further back in the pack. Todd George trying to get a move done just in front of him on Nick Wood, and Wood going to be on the outside. George going to send it up the inside with a hurr of speed, gets a little bit wobbly under the brakes but manages to hold it. But here comes Nick Wood coming back at him up the inside of turn 2, but he's going to get that position is Todd George, and Canchin even going to get a position off Nick Wood if he's not too careful. Doesn't quite have the momentum that the outside line is going to have, does Sonny Canchin, so he's going to have to slot him behind, but he's going to look at a move up the inside on the way down towards turn 4, and again he's not going to get that move done, and he's got to be careful here because Simon Joel Smith and Damien Seeger as well fighting really aggressively behind him, looking for a way by as well.
Yeah, exactly right. Simon Joel Smith getting the run there. Sonny Canchin couldn't quite make that move and had to get off the throttle, get on the brakes, and these cars are so reliant on momentum and carrying that speed. Look at that side-by-side battling between these two up in front of Simon Joel Smith here. Simon Canchin really having the work cut out from by Nick Wood. He's not going to make it easy for him to get the move done, but it looks like he is. Is this going to open an opportunity for Simon Joel Smith? Not quite at this stage, maybe into the next left-hander though.
Yeah, very possibly at the next left-hander. He's going to look for a move. He's going to look to the inside. Is Sonny Canchin, not quite, Moroz, sorry. Up the inside, he's going to get that move done. Is
Joel Seeger.
Yep. Apologies, as he's trying to get up around the outside of Joel Smith, and it's not quite going to pay off for him, though. He's going to have to slot in behind. Had a red hot go, but not quite able to pull the move off, but nearly tried the crossover. Not quite enough momentum. He should get him on the way down towards turn 1 with how close it is, but it's very, very busy as well further back, as there's a little bit of a train going on here. Good Gear led by Venables and Linus just in behind, and Linus very, very close to the back of Venables, and they've also got Sharp for company just behind them as well, so it's going to be very, very close on the way down towards turn 1 as they're all tucked up behind each other, using the draft that they can. Linus pulls out, Venables, pulls out from behind Good Gear, and here comes up the middle nearly is Linus. Adam Sharp looking at possibly a move up the inside of these guys as well. He's going to get at least one position up the inside of Good Gear is going to be Venables, so Venables going to get a position out of that, and Adam Sharp going to try and get 2 here as well on the way through turn 3, and he's just going to get that done in the end.
Yep, there we go. Just looking at this battle that is still going on between Damien Seeger, Simon Joel Smith a little bit further up, Ashley Norman and Aaron Oliver still battling at it, going hard here. The Chicken Up racing car has the inside line for this left-hander. Now this left-hander is so hard to get right. I haven't actually driven it in an MX-5, but that right-hand curb that we're just going over now is the car of Ashley Norman climbs over that curb. That's so hard to get right. Oh, a little bit of contact there for Norman. So this is going to push him onto the grass, and he's probably going to lose the spot here to Mark Foster behind.
Yeah, he's possibly got a slowdown out of that as well, maybe, as he spits a cone out from underneath his car. So he's going to lose that position there to Mark Foster. So Foster puts another car between himself and his current championship rival, and he's going to be one happy man if he keeps going the way he is. But Norman's going to want to try and move back forward as they're starting to actually lose that lead pack. Aaron Oliver leading this pack currently. That's Ashley Norman is in, not quite able to get to the back of Andrew Hobby, but we'll see how the next few laps are going to pan out as Oliver runs wide, and further back as well, Paradiso and Sharp currently going at it on the way through the final 2 corners. Darren Sharp nearly makes it work, but he's going to get shuffled out, and Paradiso runs a little bit wide. Brenton Bull's going to get a gap as a result of what's going on behind him, and now Paradiso going to come under pressure from behind, as at the front there's been a lead change between Glenn Wood and Brad Ryan. Brad Ryan moving in to second a few laps ago. Venables still sitting in P3. Pedersen has moved himself up into P4, and Andrew Hobby looming in the background as well, just in that very, very bright orange and pink and purple car. Is around the outside is Brad Ryan, as Venables tries to move up the inside, but he's going to be on the outside for the following corner, and Ryan's going to have the inside for turn 4. He's going to get hold onto that position very, very easily, and that's allowing Glenwood to break away a little bit and not have so much pressure, but that draft going to kick in once again once they do another circuit of this racetrack. It's a little bit further back. Norman's still scrapping it out in those minor places, trying to move on forward, and it's very, very busy as Nick Wood's lost another place to Luke Claver, so Wood going backwards a little bit as Norman gets shuffled out by Sonny Canchin with side-by-side contact, and Norman continues on. Canchin possibly going to redress that one, maybe. We'll see what happens here, but Norman going to get up the inside of Claver, so he's going to at least not lose too much. Oh, a little bit of a door-to-door contact there, and Wood's going to slap up the inside of Claver as a result of that contact. These boys are certainly making everyone work for it, that's for sure.
Yeah, they certainly are. They're not giving each other any room. A little bit ambitious move there by Claver. Dove him pretty deep. Looks like he didn't quite manage to make the pass though. Looking at this battle here between Mark Foster, Todd George, they were getting pretty racy a few corners ago. It's going all off throughout this field. Right at the front, still battles aplenty up there. The first 5 cars separated by not even a second.
Yeah, and they've got Aaron Oliver and Mos Moroz catching up as well to that top 5 battles. So it's become a 7-car train very, very quickly with all the battling that's been going on in front of those two. And Glenn Wood coming under a lot of pressure from Brad Ryan. And I want to say Brad Ryan's possibly going to look to make a move, but not going to be happening that time. He did have a look, but no position change there between those two. But Patterson also starting to apply a bit of pressure to the back of Venables. He looks up the inside, but he's not going to be close enough. And also Andrew Hobby nearly making contact with the rear bumper of Patterson as a result of that checkup that went on. And now it officially is a 7-car train for the lead of this race. And if they keep fighting as hard as they are, this is going to quickly become an even bigger one, with the fact that the rest of the top 10, as well as all the way back to 13th, is not too far away as well. So they've got to bear in mind that they've got to be a little bit sensible here. There's still plenty of racing to go with 9 laps. So it's going to be very much all about patience and timing in these last handful of laps. As Brad Ryan continues to pressure the back of Glenn Wood. Moroz still looming in the back. He's looking to try and make a move on Aaron Oliver. Didn't quite get the run that he might have hoped for there, as it comes through the final sector as well, and not quite able to get the run off the corner, but he is in draft range and will get a decent run on the way down towards turn 1. So he's not really needing to panic just yet, just need to be a little bit patient as well, as anything can possibly happen in the last few laps as well. So he's in a very, very good spot currently, just being a little bit patient, but might need to get a hurry on if he's not too careful with what's going on ahead, and the fact that Todd George is actually not too far behind.
Yeah, you're certainly right. 7-car train here at the front, and it's all on for the lead. Glenwood, Brad Ryan, side-by-side action. Brad Ryan moves back into first place here. Andrew Hobby, oh, he's getting pretty racy as well. Side-by-side action, 2x2 here. This is opening up a gap for those first 3 cars though, so these guys might want to be a little bit careful. The gap's already opened to 1.1 seconds between 4th and 3rd, so that's probably one of the most important things in these cars is, going to get a little bit of a tap for the back of Andrew Hobby there. I think that was Aaron Oliver who actually found the rear of that car, and he will not be happy with that one at all. Go back and have a quick little look here at this replay, see what has happened. Just go back a little bit further than that.
Yeah, it just does look like Aaron Oliver a little bit too late on the brakes, unfortunately. Not quite expecting Hobby to check up as much as he did, and unfortunately nowhere really to go in the end. So as a result, that's sent Hobby around, and it's lost Oliver a few places as well, and really has allowed that top 3 to break away and form its own little pack as well. So that top 7 battle has quickly become the top 3 battle with what's gone on there. There's a bit more drama as well at the front, as Norman's been turned around again, and Claver involved further up the road from this battle.
Yep, certainly is. Ashley Norman, what a great race for him so far. He's been kind of shuffled here, there and everywhere. Started P8, sitting in P15. This is a great pack of cars having an awesome battle. 3 wide potentially here. Oh, Ashley Norman, oh, there we go. That's just ended the bad run for Ashley Norman. He's going to drop back even further. He's going to have to recollect himself after this race. Try again for the next. As we look back at this lead pack, it's really opened up now. Gap between 3rd and 4th is nearly 2 seconds, and then Sonny Canchin, he's moved up. He was back in P10 at one stage only a few laps ago. He's sitting in P5. He'll be happy with that pace moving up. We've got a few cars that have made it down the pit lane though. This man here, Aaron Oliver, I think the stewards will certainly be looking at that accident that we just saw there. He'll be disappointed with himself as well. Aaron, very humble guy, and awesome for racing, awesome driver out there on track. He'll be absolutely disappointed that he made that contact there with the car.
Yeah, absolutely. He will be gutted a little bit, but he's got that pit stop out of the way, so he doesn't have to do it in race 2. So a few drivers deciding to get their pit stop out of the way in race 1 rather than race 2. So we'll see the order change over the course of this race, and also mix it up certainly in the next one, with the fact that most of the field is going to have to come down onto the lane in race 2. Moroz coming out of the pit lane. Actually do notice that's on replay by the looks of it, is Norman up the inside, but He's going to lose another position there. Meanwhile, it's still going on at the front of the field as well. Venables has actually moved up in a second in the last lap or so. So he's going to be very, very happy to move up another position as it's still going on for Norman, trying to make his way back forward and recover from what's been a disaster of a race so far. He's dropped all the way down to just shy of the top 30. And moving forward as well, Micallef and Foster currently going at it on the way down towards the final corner, and they've got Nick Wood in front of them as well. So Wood will be a little bit of trouble here on the way down the front straight with no helping at draft in front of him. Micallef and Foster are going to close that gap rapidly on the way down towards turn one, and Micallef actually going to pull out, and Mark Foster not going to decide to pass either of them actually. So very interesting strategic call there as Micallef up the inside of Nick Wood with a very late deep maneuver, and that's allowed Nick Wood to come straight back at him on the exit of two. Nearly got that move done, but possibly just had to check up a little bit too much. But a very, very late and very, very deep send from Lucas Micallef to gain that position over Nick Wood. Now he's moving himself up into P7.
Yeah, certainly right. Lucas Micallef pushing those MX-5 brakes to the absolute limit and really just hanging on to that one. Turn one at this track is a bit of a hit and miss corner. You can very easily outbrake yourself, and he managed to just hold on to it there. Probably lost a little bit of time, and he's going to lose that position again there to Nick Wood, who moves back up into P7. Looking back here between Darren Sharp, Jesse Carriage, these guys battling it out for P14, P15. Just keeping it pretty clean on track there. Interesting strategy call, I must say there. You did comment, Cam, on Mark Foster there in P9 just to pull out of that one. He's got something up his sleeve, or he just wants the two cars in front of him to take each other out, and then he can take that spot, or maybe he's thinking he can't make his way any further up the order, this current position of the race, with the next car being 3.5 seconds up the road, 3.8 seconds up the road. So he might try and use that slipstream on that last lap to get past these two.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see what his strategy possibly ends up being out of that lift on the previous lap. Like you said, it could be for to get that move done on that last lap, or it could just be to be a little bit safe and try and play things into his hands with the fact that all he's pretty much got to do at this point is just try and finish ahead of his championship rival in the AM category as well. So no need to fight these pro guys that he's currently in a battle with, as Nick Wood gets up the inside of Micallef with a little bit of hip and shoulder going on, but that moves Nick Wood keeps him in 7th through turn one. Micallef probably going to try and come back at him in the next corner or so. Not quite going to be close enough for the following corner, but it's on just up the road as well between Canchin and George as they're side by side at the following corner. Canchin going to get that position straight back off Todd George, but George going to look around the outside, possibly at a crossover move at turn 5. Not quite going to get the run that he hoped, and Canchin going to hold on to that top 5 position. So Canchin not doing too bad of a job to recover after that horrible start that he's had, so he's still going to score some decent points here.
Yeah, you're exactly right. Canchin, really hard to catch up to these cars in front of them, so these guys are going to need to work together and utilise that slipstream to their advantage, or hope that the cars in front do start to battle so they can close that 3.5 second gap. These front guys are doing a fantastic job, though Brad Ryan seems to have checked out a little bit. He's 1.5 seconds up the road from Glenn Wood, who's in P2. Fantastic drive from Brad Ryan thus far in the race, lap 10 of 14, and yeah, he'll certainly be wanting to take this race win.
Yeah, he certainly will, and very, very interesting. That gap has actually opened up. Glenwood making the move on Venables on this lap, and as a result has opened that gap up quite a bit. But looking further back, Aaron Oliver making his way forward after making his pit stop, currently trying to make his way on by Mosmoroz on the way through this final sector here. Not quite going to be able to get the move done here, but he's at least going to have a solid slipstream down the front straight as they come through the final two corners, right out over the yellow anti-cut curb. As I believe that's Paradiso coming down onto the lane, so another driver deciding to get their pit stop for the night out of the way early in race 1 rather than race 2. So he'll be at an advantage in race 2 when the rest ahead of him who haven't pitted will have to pit in race 2.
Yep, you're exactly right. Get the pit stop done in the first one. Unless, of course, you're leading the race, then it's going to be a bit of a hard call to make. This is the last round of the Season 2 Championship, and what a fantastic season it has been. I've really enjoyed broadcasting this Simworx Sports Car E-Series, and we look forward to many seasons to come in the future. Yeah, we have full fields every single week, don't we, Cam? And these drivers, doesn't matter whether you're fourth or first or 41st, the battles are plenty throughout this field, and yeah, never disappoint us.
Yeah, absolutely. It's pretty action-packed from 1st to 50th or even further back, depending on the field size we've got. But you certainly find yourself in a battle throughout the field, regardless of your current position at some point in the race as well. So it's very competitive in this field and very busy as well with everything that goes on around you. There's Patterson and Holmes currently going at it further back in the field, and interesting that Patterson's actually down that far. Well, actually, they're coming up through lapped cars, so he's actually served his pit stop currently by the looks of it, so he's got that pit stop out of the way now rather than later, which is an interesting strategy call considering he was in the top 4 at one point, but he's not fallen too far down the order. He currently finds himself in P11 and looking to set up Matt Van Egmond for a move to move into the top 10 on the way down towards turn 1. He's going to pull to the inside of Van Egmond, gets up the inside. Does he brake late enough? It looks like he has, and gets that move done easily as Van Egmond lets him on it by. So Patterson moves into the top 10 and is going to probably dispatch of Joel Smith just in front of him as well in the not too distant future.
Yeah, you're exactly right. Can't quite see the pit stop time for him exactly. Looks like the lane was a bit of a short transit, what I'm showing on my end. So has he definitely made his mistake, made his pit stop there, Cam? Can you confirm that, mate?
Yeah, actually just going back and having a look, it's actually drive-through penalty by the looks of it, so possibly race control dishing that one out for possible incidents. And as a result, he's fallen down the order, so he's actually still going to have to serve that pit stop in race 2 if he doesn't do it in race 1. There's only 3 laps to go currently, so he hasn't got long left to serve that pit stop if he's going to get it done in race 1. Probably not a silly idea considering he's a little bit down the order as well, so we'll see whether he does bring it down onto the lane for a second time to get that pit stop out of the way. But nevertheless, we'll continue on with this race as Moroz currently trying to get his way forward as well, trying to see what he can do and move on forward, and bearing in mind he's done his pit stop as well, so he's one of the front runners who had, well, one of the first few drivers who have pitted in the order, and he'll be able to move forward once the race 2 pit stops cycle through. There's currently 2 laps to go, with the fact the leaders have just crossed the line, so not too much longer for Brad Ryan to bring it on home and win this first race. Kanchan also making up another position, so he's going to be in 4th now as a result of Patterson bringing it onto the lane, but he's got Todd George for company on the outside, but he's going to hold that inside line with a defensive move and keep that position off Todd George for now, but he's not catching those ahead, that's for sure, with this battling going on.
Yeah, you're certainly right. Really difficult strategy call to make. This man on screen now, Moz Moroz, he is the first driver to have made a stop. He is leading all of those drivers who have made a pit stop so far in the race. He's sitting back in 15th place, so interesting to see how he goes in race 2. I don't think we're going to see any more pit stops for this race with only a lap and a half left to go. But this man in 2nd position, Tiny Venables, he's done a fantastic job at closing that gap to Brad Ryan. Under a second now is Tiny Venables, and he'll be certainly pretty happy with his pace at this stage in the race. Glenn Wood back there in third. It's pretty open field here. Normally we have about 7 cars coming to the line on the last lap, but I am sure we will see that happen there in race number 2. Looking a little bit further back here, Todd George in P5. Saw that move there the previous half a lap ago from Sonny Kenshin moving into P4. He's done a fantastic job to make his way back after that first lap half spin there, which really cost him big time back here for P8. Caleb Patterson, Mark Foster in the mix here as well, Simon Joel Smith in 11th place, and Greg Holmes, one of the series administrators, a big supporter of the series and a big supporter of sim racing in general. He's doing a fantastic job in P12 there, waiting for these guys to just tangle together, or maybe he's waiting for just an opportunity and going to slipstream past them. We will see as we are on the last lap of the race now. Brad Ryan leading, Tony Venables second, and Glenn Wood in third.
Yeah, the top 3 looking like they're probably not going to change at this point in the race. It might do for the lead, depending on what Venables can do, but unlikely Glenn Wood's going to be able to do anything from here, or Kenshin for that matter, to possibly try and catch up to those leaders. As Adam Sharp currently in the lane, a very, very late pit stop as well to do his mandatory compulsory pit stop to get those 2 tyres on at that thing. So very, very interesting strategy call to do it on the last lap. Possibly decides that it's not the greatest position that he's in, and he wants to possibly try and aid himself in race 2. So we'll see how that works out for him. But also this battle going on between Brody Cook and Steve McMahon currently through turn 3. McMahon having his rear bumper harassed by Brody Cook, who's going to try and not quite have a look. He had a half look, but didn't quite get that move done in the end on the way into turn 4. Is he going to have a look at turn 5? Not entirely sure, but we'll wait and see. And also interesting to note that Mark Foster's lost 2 positions on that previous lap as well to Patterson and Mikulev as well. So he's gone backwards a little bit in the last lap or so, but still going to be on for a very, very good result and some decent AM championship points as well in this first race. But leaders are coming to the flag as well, as Brad Ryan's going to come through the final corner. Venables tries to get close enough, but he's not quite going to do it, and Brad Ryan is going to be taking out race 1 here at Catalonia for the final round of the Simworx Rumble here, with Venables coming home in second. Glenn Wood rounds out the podium, and Todd George actually just gets both of them as Glenn Wood and Kenshin both run out of fuel, and Todd George ends up on the podium as a result. Kenshin brings it home 4th. Glenn Wood is going to keep it on the top 5, so he brought it home in 5th. But meanwhile, it's a few other drivers running out of fuel as well, Nick Wood being one of those, as well as Darren Sharp. So a few drivers running the gauntlet, unfortunately, and ending up running out of fuel, as that's another car there, Aaron Oliver, running out of fuel. So a number of drivers here have not managed to save enough fuel, and as a result, they are having to limp at home.
Yeah, exactly right. Aaron Oliver came close last round at Bathurst. He actually ran out of fuel on the last corner of the last lap, but just managed to limp it over the line to take the race win. Not quite so successful today. Yeah, a lot of cars running out of gas in this one, which I guess you'd forget driving one of these Mazdas. They don't really use much fuel very often, but when you're running it so fine as this, then it can easily happen. A few other little battles running to the line here. Ashley Connors over the back of Wade McCulloch. They're going to finish in 31st and 32nd. That little bit further back, Ben Ferguson, Graham Ellis, they're going to race to the line as well. Not quite side by side action for those two. They will finish in 33rd and 34th. Philip Paradiso in 35th. Yeah, a lot of cars running out of gas, which I am quite surprised about, but this is fierce racing, and I can understand why you would run it as light as what they are.
And not really able to save much fuel as well on these things around this sort of track as well, where you're constantly trying to keep the momentum up. So very, very difficult to save fuel and try and get it home on the limited tank. that you've got in these cars. But nevertheless, still a very, very good race. And in the end, it was Brad Ryan who managed to take victory out of that one. And I'd say Sonny Canchin has more or less wrapped the championship up with that result. As a result, and there is your final results for race one. Ryan, Venables, George for the podium, with Canchin and Glenwood running out of fuel right at the end there. Van Egmond, Pedersen, McAuliffe, Holmes, and Foster round out the top 10.
Yep, there we go. Top 10 is finished back in 11th. Great drive there from Moz Moroz, Ashley Norman in P12, Darren Sharp 13th, Steve McMahon 14th, Brody Cook in P15, Neil McKenzie 16th, Lee Harrison. He'll be really disappointed with that. We didn't actually really focus on Lee. Apologies for that, Lee. He got tangled up there at the start of the race. He finishes in P17. Nick Wood in 18th, Wayne Losh 19th, and Aaron Oliver limped it over the line there, running out of gas in P20.
Then you can have Luke Claver just outside the top 20. Was on for a possibly very, very good result as well, but decided to not quite have it the race that he hoped, and ended up having to make a pit stop to get it out of the way. Brenton Bull 22nd with Jesse Carriage in 23rd. Not too bad of a run from 27th on the grid. Adam Sharp 24th after that very late pit stop, with Joel Proctor rounding out the top 25 from 43rd on the grid as well. So very, very solid recovery from him. Dave Gogol 27th with Bart Rodkin, Darren Linus, Tony Vaselis, and Adam Raunovich rounding out the top 30.
We go back to 31st, Wayne McCulloch, Anthony Connors 32nd, Graham Ellis, Ben Ferguson, Philip Paradiso, Brandon McMillan, Damien Seeger, Ray Ramundo, Carl Goodger, and Tody Dang will round out the 40 cars.
Yeah, and you're going to have Andrew Hobby limping at home, literally on fumes in 41st, then Simon Joel Smith in 42nd, 1 lap down. Matthew McMillan 1 lap down as well, and Jamie Willits unfortunately DNFing that race, so he's going to start down in 44th position for race 2. Well, race 2 is not too far away, and we're going to take a quick break from the action, so don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with race 2.
This is fantastic. This is GT racing right now.
He's got traction, he's going the outside, both of them! Maloney!
Oh, he's taken Anderson. Anderson's up to
Oh my God! Oh, big crash! Oh my goodness, half the field's gonna get rolled!
Six very close. These guys I want to make their way through the field very quickly. Oh, there we go.
Oh no!
That's massive. This is it. This is over. I can't believe this. Oh my God.
God, what?
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to what is now going to be race 2 and the final race of the season for the Simworx Roadster Rumble here at Circuit de Barcelona, Catalonia. And if race 1 was anything to go by, race 2 certainly going to be no disappointment. Number of drivers yet to make their pit stop tonight, so this order that your previous race is going to be absolutely not much similar. So it's going to be very, very fascinating to see who's going to end up where, who's going to be having to pit, who's not, and where this race, how this race result is going to end up shaking up. So it's going to be very, very fascinating. A number of drivers looking for extra points as well in the championship for one last hurrah here at Catalonia. So it'll be fascinating to see what's going to happen, but it's more or less all in the hands of your current championship leaders, Sonny Canchin and Mark Foster. They've not quite, but more or less wrapped up, and they've just got to finish strong here in this final round to round this championship up and be crowned champions. So it's going to be all to play for in the championship, and obviously a few drivers battling for those minor places as well. And so every point is going to count as a result. Brad Ryan is going to be leading the field after winning that first race, with Venables joining him on the front row, of course. And your race 2 grid based on the results of race 1's finishing order. So a number of drivers possibly having a bit of work ahead of them to move forward. But coming through the final corner, the pace car is going to pull into pit lane, and we're going to be not too far away from getting this race underway. Brad Ryan goes very, very early on the apex of the final corner to get himself a gap. Green flag is in the air, and we are officially racing. And a very, very good start for Brad Ryan. Venables not too bad, as well as Todd George challenging Venables on the way down towards the final corner. 3 and 4 wide through the back, as well as everybody sorting themselves out. The pack heads down towards turn 1, and in the end it's going to be the top 3 staying the same. Canchin's going to gain a position. Out of that is Glenn Wood and Van Egmond going at it side by side. A little bit of side by side contact through turn 1. They're going to drop back, and Patterson get involved in this little battle pack. Oh, a little bit of contact between Patterson and Van Egmond on the way out of turn 3. Patterson going to look up the inside now of Glenn Wood. Is also Todd George had a look up the inside of Tane Venables, but didn't quite get that one done, as it's all going on for these minor positions on this first lap.
Certainly is. Great start there. A little bit of rubbing to turn 1 and 2 there. Plenty of side-by-side action throughout this first lap. Riding along here with Dave Gogol. He's side-by-side with Joel Proctor. And then got Brad Rodkin. He's looking for some room as well.
Yeah, just going right out over the anti-cut curve there. A little bit of a rough ride through there for Rodkin. Manages to get that position, though, is just further up the road. Mark Foster having his fans full currently, trying to get to the back of Aaron Oliver. Is just up ahead. Lee Harrison and Norman making moves as well up the inside of, I think that's Greg Holmes and Moz Moroz. So those two gain a position each on their respective positions. And very, very close in this battle pack, as well as wide goes Holmes, and that's going to allow Lee Harrison up the inside to get another position. It's a little bit further back as well. You're seeing a few other drivers changing positions.
Yep,
it's all going on.
Brenton Bull, Jesse Carriage and Adam Sharp battling here for 20th position. Nice side-by-side action here. Oh, a little bit of rubbing. How's that from Joel Proctor? Nice little bit of touch there, saying hurry along, I need to get this move done. Everyone's going to keep it on the black stuff, and they're going to roll down into turn 1. More side-by-side action. Who's going to have the biggest set of brakes here? Something like the 101 car is going to have the brakes on him. That will be Joel Proctor. Fantastic driving from these guys. Like the car just in front, Adam Sharp, he looks to be slowing up a little bit. Further up there, Greg Holmes, he is battling pretty hard here with Brenton Bull for P18. Doing a fantastic job. Yeah, so far on the second lap of this 14-lap race.
Yeah, it's been very, very clean, but very, very hard fought as well by a number of these drivers in this race so far. So the top 3 still the same as it started. Canchin now on the back of Todd George as well, a little bit further back as well. You see Ashley Norman, not Norman, sorry, Yes, Norman.
Actually, Norman, yeah.
Trying to get to the back of Matt Van Egmond. Well, I should say getting on by Van Egmond and trying to get to the back of Patterson, who is in tow of Lucas Micallef. So those guys are fighting for those final spots just inside the top 5, and quite a train as well. This one with Harrison, Moroz, Cook, Losh, and a few others. And this train is Harrison up the inside of Moroz, nearly got it up the inside of Van Egmond. He's got it up the inside, but he's going to be out on the outside for the following corner. And these two not in the same class as well. So Harrison having his work cut out for him a little bit here with Van Egmond, trying to gain some spots and utilise the track position that he's got currently. Won't be too happy with Lee Harrison trying to do what he's doing to try and catch up to those guys in front of him, but he's going to set up a move on the front straight down towards turn 1, and so are the drivers ahead. Looks like Micallef going to come under pressure from Patterson just up the road. And it's going to be a move made as well for Lee Harrison by the looks of it as they head down the front straight. He's going to have that inside run very, very easily, and he's going to get that move done with the fact he's getting a little bit of assistance with a push from Mosmoroz as well as Norman up the inside of Patterson. So that's that move completed, and Harrison gets that move completed as well on Van Egmond. So he's going to move into P9 for the time being, but he's got to be very, very careful of that big pack behind him who is charging.
Yeah, certainly right there. Great move from Lee Harrison. Better start than he had in race 1. Going to want to have a good result here to finish up well in the championship. He is being put under plenty of pressure here by Matt Van Egmond, and he potentially is going to get shuffled by and Brody Cook could potentially make the move on Lee Harrison, but he is going to make his way back up in front here. He has got to be careful of that car just behind there of Brody Cook. He's going to make his way up the inside of Matt Van Egmond. Potentially the road's going to run out for Edmund. Going to continue side by side. A little bit further behind there, Aaron Oliver sitting in P13. He is not letting these guys go in front of him at all. He's probably going to get quite a good run here coming into this hard left-hander.
Yeah, he is certainly going to be getting a very good run on the way down there, as it's a very big skirmish going on in these minor positions. Currently, as Moroz going to gain a position on Harrison and co. Is Oliver as well trying to get in on the action, is a little bit further up the road. It's very, very busy between these guys, and then a little bit further back as well. You got that pack of Aaron Oliver and everybody else all fighting for these minor positions. And a few of these drivers haven't pitted, but a lot of them have. So they're all fighting for position as we see a number of drivers dive into the lane. Patterson, Micallef, Wood all in the lane, so they're going to get their pit stop out of the way and drop down the order as a result. Venables bump drafting with Brad Ryan on the way into turn 1. Try to get a bit of assistance, but up the inside, Sonny Canchin's just going to slip and take that position straight off Venables. So Canchin now on for the race, win possibly here. But bearing in mind, they've both got to get their pit stops out of the way, do these top 3. And so does Todd George, if I'm correct. So these top 4 all having to still complete a pit stop at some point, so they're going to drop down the order and probably not going to be winning this race, but we'll see what may or may not transpire over the course of these next 11 or so laps.
Yeah, you're exactly right. I think the hot favourite here, who did make that pit stop in the first race, the man in P8 at the moment, Mos Moroz, he was the highest placed finisher in race 1, who has made a pit stop, so he's looking in a pretty good position in there in P8. He is only 9 seconds off the race lead, and all those guys in front of him do need to make a pit stop, so yeah, good position for him so far. This field really close in the second race. Aaron Oliver back here in P10. He's gonna hope for a better finish than race 1 as well. That contact that he had on the car, looking right at the front though. Sonny Canchin looking very racy here on the back of Brad Ryan. These guys swapping positions every second corner it seems, really making a breakaway. And the man in 4th, who is doing a pretty good job considering he's by himself, who is going to dive into the lane, that is Todd George. Oh, very committed into there. You can tell he's practiced that one's a few times, Cam. Very much on the limit, and he's going to want a quick stop here. be interesting to see where he comes out. That will give him a good comparison into where Moroz is sort of going to be on track once everyone makes a pit stop.
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to be very, very fascinating to see where he's going to end up popping out, but very, very committed on the way in. Like you said, was a little bit conservative when he got to the line, though. He dropped nearly 15 kilometers an hour below the actual speed limit. So that higher speed limit catching out a few drivers are all sort of used to that 72 or 60 or 50 kilometers an hour sort of speed. So this higher one certainly catches a lot of drivers out that haven't raced too many times around here. But further forward as well, back to the on-track action. You've got the likes of Aaron Oliver duking it out, and then you've also got Moroz all over the tail of Brody Cook. Further back, Adam Sharp, Brenton Bull and Adam Sharp side by side on the way through turn 4. And Adam Sharp going to get that move it done on Brenton Bull, so he's going to move up into what's going to be 12th place and not be on the hunt for Luke Claver. And they've got Sager and Proctor not too far behind as well. And Proctor's done a really, really good job to move up 10 places so far. So he's doing really, really well. All things considered so far with how this night's gone for him and where he started in race 1 as well. Sager and Proctor side by side on the way through the middle sector. And we're going to end up switching positions out of that one, I should say. Not going to be changed for position, but Proctor looking very, very racy, that's for sure, as they're going to head down towards the middle end of the circuit. Not quite going to get that move done. He had a look, but no move completed.
No move completed at this stage. Aggressive battling here. That car, bright orange car of Andrew Hobby. He's sitting in P16 at the moment, waiting for a mistake from these guys in front. So other battles through the field. Back here for 30th position, Darren Sharp. He is got a cone stuck under the car. That will not be helping his straight line speed at all. I wonder how long it's going to take for that to flick on out. Potentially might just wear the cone right out before it comes out. Oh, I don't know if that is actually implemented here in iRacing. That might just be speculation by me. It has come out. Doesn't look to be under the car anymore. He's going to be able to get the pace back up as long as it hasn't done too much damage underneath. We see another car dive into the lane there.
Yeah, Raymond Harrison bringing it into the lane, so he's getting his pit stop out of the way. Going to drop down the order as a result. I believe also Andrew Hobby's made his pit stop on this lap, so he's done that and dropped down at the order.
A bit of an overshoot of his pit box there for the number 11 car. He won't be too happy with that one. He's gonna get out of his box very shortly. Just looking back at the front, Brad Ryan has been overtaken by Sonny Kenshin since we last checked in with these guys. It's a gap now between 3rd and 4th. Ashley Norman, he is in 4th position. He is 7.6 seconds down the road. So, good drive from him at this stage. Does still need to make a pit stop though. And we will see where he comes out. This is going to be a really close battle between Kenshin and Ryan, I think. When they come into the pit lane, I reckon they'll dive down at pretty much the same time. And see whose pit crew has done most amount of work during the week. Lee Harrison back here in P number 5. Better run for him so far in this race. Don't put the commentator's curse on though, Scott. We still have 9 laps of this race left to go, and I believe there we go, side-by-side action. We might even go 3 wide action into turn 1 here for these guys. Tony Venables getting amongst this. Sonny Kenshin not wanting to have any part of this at all. Going to try and get the run into turn number 3. The big long sweeping right-hander, really tough on front tyres as this long right-hander, but yeah, certainly a corner where you can lose a lot on that last lap, Cam.
Yeah, absolutely, and very, very tough on tyres is that corner, but Brad Ryan going to hold on to the lead of this race. Venables going to get the position off Kenshin in the end, and Kenshin's going to slot back into 3rd place, still right on the tail of this lead group here, so nothing lost as a result of that battling. But further back as well, It's all going off in the secondary pack. Lee Harrison currently trying to hunt down Ashley Norman, but he's got Brody Cook for company. And Cook not making this easy for Harrison, certainly applying the pressure, and bucket loads currently being all over the back of that back bumper. As Moroz trying to also get in amongst these guys as well. He's dropped off the back a little bit, and there's a little bit of a gap, but still within range of an attack if he needs to make one with the help of some draft. Actually not too bad of a run through that corner there as they come up towards the historic outer loop. And getting very deep under the brakes as well, but at the front still very, very close. Venables closing up quite a lot as well on the way through there, so possibly some advantages there for the last lap. Well, when they come to the last lap, if he remains within striking distance of Brad Ryan. Is on board here with Kanchan as they head onto the front straight. You'll get a fair idea of how big the draft is and how powerful it is on the way down towards turn 1. Obviously, Venables having a draft of his own in the form of Brad Ryan. As Kanchan pokes the nose out, trying to go for a fluke move and decides to think better of it and just sit in behind. Venables did the same, but didn't make the move on Ryan, knowing that he wouldn't gain anything out of it more than likely. So top 3 remaining the same for another lap. And meanwhile, behind, a little bit of shuffling going on. These guys still fighting it out as well.
Yep, certainly a battle here for P number 4. It's certainly underway. Brody Cook there looking for a gap on Lee Harrison. Moz Moroz, our leading car of pit stops made in the first race. He's looking pretty comfortable at this stage. I reckon that the likes of Brad Ryan, Tony Venables and Sonny Kanchan will have to come in and do their stop very soon. They're not going to want to leave it too late in the race. That could open themselves up to dangerous position on track, coming out potentially in lots of traffic, although they're going to come out in traffic either way with the near on 50 car grid that we have in this series every week. Back here for P10, Adam Sharp and Luke Claver going side by side. Move done there for Adam Sharp, fantastic pass there. This is going to leave him open though to a draft and get passed back by Luke Claver. Potentially, no, Claver just going to sit back there and just wait for the main straight, which is coming up pretty soon. Bit of a deep run there for Luke Claver. Brakes, potentially struggling with those front tyres. That we are the 8 laps through this race. Still no takers on the lane for these front lot though. They're going to complete another lap. Go into 7 to go. Going to see 3 wide action into turn 1 here, Cam.
You'd have to think possibly as Venables pokes his nose out and looks to make a move on Brad Ryan on the way down towards turn 1 for the lead of this race. Gets that one done with great ease. So position gained there for Venables and change for the lead. Meanwhile, a little bit further back, it's a very long draft train as Losh pulls out on Moroz and gets that position off him. So he moves up a position there and moves into 7th. Did wonder if possibly Brody Cook or Lee Harrison were going to have a move on Ashley Norman or each other, but no, not quite the case in the end. So those guys remain the same, and that's the only pass between that little group currently. And Aaron Oliver, really surprised that he's actually dropped off the back of these guys as well. So I would have thought that he might have possibly tried to have a go at getting some passes done, although that said, he's possibly going to be doing a little bit of fuel saving in this race as well. So we'll see what he might do to try and make this pit stop work in the second race.
Yeah, exactly right. I don't think he wants to make it 3 races in a row where he runs out of fuel. So potentially just hanging back. I was just going to say, Cam, not the pace that we normally see out of Aaron Oliver. Normally he is, at least in one of the races, fighting it right there for that race win. Looking at his lap times, fastest lap for him is half a second off the front running guys. He's had a pretty good draft, but maybe he's just wanting to collect championship points. Could be happy with just a top 10 result after that race 1 incident that he had. More side-by-side action for these two, number car 69 and number 68, going side-by-side here as we about to come onto the front straight for them.
Yeah, still side by side through the final two corners, and those positions change finally on the way into the final corner. Sonny Kenshin comes into the lane as well by the looks of it for his pit stop, so he's going to plummet down the order as a result, and all these drivers that we're focusing on are going to blow on by. So we'll see where Sonny Kenshin's actually going to come out in relation to the likes of Brad Ryan and Tane Venables. Those two currently switch positions as well, so Venables currently leading, Kenshin with a 10-second stop, so he is going to end up coming out around about where Graham Ellis and they are, so just inside, just outside the top 15 currently. He's not going to lose a place to Graham Ellis, albeit he's going to give it a red hot go as Graham Ellis. He might actually just steal that position, but Kenshin has the inside for turn 3, so Ellis not quite going to be able to make that one happen, and Kenshin going to be able to hold on to that position, but nearly going to be 3 wide on the way down towards turn 4 as Linus is looking up the inside, possibly right on the dirty side of the racetrack, but no move going to end up happening. So Kenshin having to do a little bit of work here to try and do a bit of defensive driving with the fact that he's got cars right on his tail, but holds on to the positions at least, and he's going to get some nice clean air before he catches up to Damien Seeger is at the front. Still very, very close between Venables and Ryan, as Ryan maybe had a bit of a look on the way down there, but decided to just be a little bit smarter and be a little bit more conservative, knowing that knowing that Venables is where he is.
Yeah, exactly right, mate. Take for the lane at the stage. We got one of the cars. There we go, Tiny Venables. He goes into the lane. So interesting call there by Brad Ryan. Ooh, nearly touched the wall, did Tiny Venables. Where is he going to come out in relation to Sonny Kenshin, who is back in P15? Very efficient and fast stop for Kenshin there. Fastest of this race so far. 10.4 seconds. So interesting to see the different choice of tyre. You notice that stay on board here with Tiny Venables. He's taken the right hand side tyres of this car. Sonny Kenshin took the left hand side. We will only see 2 tyres taken. There we go. So he's off the pit box. Gonna get it done. 11.8 second stop for Tiny Venables. 1.4 seconds slower than Kenshin. So that's certainly going to affect things. Kenshin just coming down the straight now, so they're going to end up side by side. Tiny Venables is going to have the run though. Sonny Kenshin up the inside, gets the move done, and this is going to leave Damien Seeger open here to make this pass on Seeger, but on Venables, I should say. He's going to close the door and hold off Damien Seeger for this corner anyway.
Yeah, going to end up getting that position in the end is Sonny Kenshin. A little bit of a slide from Venables on the way through turn 3 didn't help Venables at all, so it's going to be a change of position there. Seeger nearly making a move there on Venables, looking very, very racy though as well, so he has to be careful, does Venables. Meanwhile, further forward, that secondary pack still going at it, still very much a competitive one. He's looking very, very racy behind Venables at the moment is Damien Seeger. Not quite able to get the run that he hoped. Got a little bit crossed up there on the exit, but managing to just keep it straight enough that he's going to be still within striking distance. Ryan brings it down onto the lane as we jump on board with him. So we'll see where this is going to put him as he gets right on the brakes late, trying to bring it down onto the lane. An absolute perfect way on entry into the pit lane. So we'll see how the stopwatch tells us, what sort of story it might tell us, the fact that he's going to take 2 tyres. Whether he also takes right sides or left sides as well, that's going to be the fascinating one as it goes up on the jacks, and it's going to be right sides for Brad Ryan. So he's going to get a reasonably good stop here. Away he is. Kenshin just coming through the final corner now. And this is going to be a massive jump for Brad Ryan over Sonny Kenshin and Tane Venables. So massive pit stop differential there, and I want to say that Brad Ryan's possibly not taking any fuel out of that, so he's had a massive jump out of that, but could possibly be at risk later in this race.
Yeah, see, looking at the lane transit time from start to finish, Brad Ryan there with a 30.1, including the pit stop itself. Sonny Canshin 30.9, so not a huge amount in it. There is about 1.8 seconds separating Brad Ryan and Sonny Canshin at the moment. They are sitting in 11th and 12th position. Canshin, you know how good he is and how quickly he will be able to close that gap. Brad Ryan not really having any cars in front of him to be able to use that tow, that slipstream, to be able to pull him along and open up that gap even further, and potentially that right hand side lot of tyres that Brad Ryan has taken take a little bit longer to come up to temperature, because that gap is closing at a rapid rate of knots. We're down to 0.7 of a second between Canshin and Ryan now, and these guys certainly going to be battling towards the end of this race.
Yeah, they absolutely are going to be battling towards the end of this race, as Kenshin really deep on the brakes. He's going to be within striking distance now and is well and truly in draft range. So these two going to possibly change positions this time around. We'll wait and see, but leaders are coming to go. So it's going to be 2 laps remaining in this race for the leaders. Lee Harrison, your current race leader, as a result of the pit stop cycles that have played out in this second race. So we'll see how this is all going to play out for him, and we'll see how Brad Ryan's going to go in for the remainder of this race as well, where the Kenshin's going to look to make a move. He's going to have to go defensive, is Brad Ryan. In the secondary pack as well, Moroz has fallen to the tail of the secondary pack as well, so a little bit of shuffling that's been going on over the past few laps between these guys has meant that Moroz, who was the leading car who had pitted, has dropped down the order as a result. So he's not going to be in the best position currently with 2 laps remaining, but he might find himself a few positions ahead by the time we start the next lap. So we'll wait and see, but Lee Harrison will be trying his utmost best to get a win here. He'll be in a very, very good position at the moment if he can hold off Wayne Losh, and those behind is in the background Aaron Oliver looking up the inside of Brody Cook. Gets that move done very, very easily up and over the anti-cut curb, and is going to take that position straight off Brody Cook. So Aaron Oliver on the charge. He knows where he sits at the moment on track and knows how much longer is left in this race. So he's starting to make some moves forward as Aaron Oliver to put himself in a good position for the final lap.
Yeah.
No moves still going to be happening between these guys on the way through.
Well, Brody Cook there, very committed into that turn. He lost the rear of the car, making that move on Moroz. We go side by side through this turn here. Lee Harrison doing a fantastic job there out in the lead of the race. 2 laps to go in this final race of the season, and a fantastic season it has been for the Simworx Sports Car E-Series. Really enjoyed being part of this, and finishes that we've had have been phenomenal every single race. The series has been organised extremely well and just attracts a huge crowd of drivers, and this is the reason why it attracts these drivers, because it's 3 wide action into turn 1 on the final lap of the race. Oh, we got actually Norman. He's going to go well off the track, and that's definitely going to be a slowdown for him. This is going to drop him way back, and Lee Harrison's going to retake the lead of the race. Ashley Norman, he's going to have a huge penalty. I think he will finish outside the top 5 on this.
Yeah, very, very deep on the brakes from Ashley Norman, and also Wayne Losh into turn 1. I actually thought Harrison was going to get cleaned up there, but wasn't the case, and Harrison doing a very, very good job at making sure he wasn't going to end up being in some form of an incident, but Norman seems to have possibly cleared that slowdown, I want to say, so he might have just got away with that one based on the pace that slowdown will have been based off, so he might be okay. But he's got Aaron Oliver for company all over his back bumper, so the 2 teammates going to be trying to work together here to try and back Norman into a corner and try and get a 1-2 finish here. And we'll wait and see what's going to happen. Aaron Oliver probably in actually the best position out of the 3 of them, because of the fact that he's only got a few corners to get passes done, but Lee Harrison going to go defensive on the way down towards the outer loop of the historic layout. Norman tries to turn in. No gap going to be there. Aaron Oliver's going to get up the inside. And now Norman's going to be hung out to dry on the outside, but he's going to be the inside for the following corner. Is Norman on the final lap? Aaron Oliver's going to try and persist with the outside line. No grip out there, so he's not going to be able to do it. Does try a crossover move on Norman, but he's not quite going to be close enough. It's a little bit of a tap on the way through the second to last corner from Aaron Oliver on Ashley Norman, but it's going to be a done deal. Is it going to come to the line? Lee Harrison is going to finish the season off with a win, and Aaron Oliver is actually just going to steal the second place off Ashley Norman as Lee Harrison runs just out of fuel across the line. What a finish from those top three.
Wow, that was fantastic there. I'm not too sure how Ashley Norman managed to clear that slowdown penalty, but we'll look a little bit further back. Good result there for Moz Moroz. Luke Claver, Brad Ryan here in P10, Damien Seeger finishing P13, and a little bit further back here, we've got one car out of gas. That's Adam Sharp. He's run out of fuel, going to try and putt it all the way home. Don't know if he'll make it from that position on the track. Back here is Adam Marinovich. He will finish in P25. Sharp just dropping through the order. Carl Goodger back here in 32nd. Graham Ellis 34th, and pretty much our field. Rick Holmes, he's in a little bit of a fierce battle here with Simon Joel Smith. These guys having a fantastic top 10, I think from memory, result finishing that first race. Quite the same for this race number 2, but a great finish either way for both of these guys. It was a fantastic race, the second race. A lot more competitive and closer finish than the first. The race towards the line. Greg Holmes is going to get this one over Simon Joel Smith in 39th.
Yeah, very, very close finish between those two. Possibly not quite what Greg Holmes would have wanted after starting in 9th place, but as the drivers will celebrate and get some carnage underway post-race, it's been very, very intense race with Lee Harrison taking home the victory by the narrowest of margins, and it ends up being a 1-2 for Harrison and Oliver, with Oliver just stealing it away from Norman. Unbelievable that he actually managed to get the run to the line as well. So very, very good finish nevertheless, but also very, very good into the series and season with how that result all played out as well. So absolutely fantastic racing all season long, and what a way to finish it as well, as it will bring up the standings. Lee Harrison, obviously your race winner from Aaron Oliver and Ashley Norman. Wayne Losh brings it home in 4th, with Moroz rounding out the top 5, so managed to get an okay finish there, dropping to the back of the little train that he was in. Brody Cook in 6th, with Joel Proctor finishing in 7th. 8th to Brenton Bull. Luke Claver brings home 9th, with Brad Ryan rounding out the top 10. And then you go over the page. Tame Venables brings it home in 11th. Canchin actually comes home in 12th after running out of fuel by the looks of it on that last lap. Seeger going to bring it home at 13th. Neil McKenzie brings it home just ahead of Todd George in 15th, with George running at the top 15th. Anthony Connors and Glenn Wood, followed by Nick Wood. Cal Patterson and Andrew Hobby round out the top 20.
Go over the page. Matt Van Egmond 21st, Mark Foster 22nd, Lucas Mikulev, Jesse White Carriage, Adam Marinovich, Matthew McMillan, Bard Rodkin, Dave Gogol, Brandon McMillan, and Carl Goodger will round out the 30. Then we flip over the page. Ben Ferguson, Darren Linus, Philip Paradiso, Jamie Willits, Wade McCulloch, Greg Holmes there in 36th, Simon Joel Smith 37th, Darren Sharp, Graham Ellis, and Tony Dang round out number 40.
And then across the page, and your final cars, Steve McMahon being a DNF, as well as Tony Vasalis not taking it to the start in the second race. So 44 cars across this final round, and what a round it was to have some epic battling all throughout the field in both races, and some interesting strategy calls as well. in the pit stops, but we'll go to post-race interviews and we will grab our race 2 winner, Lee Harrison, with a very, very good way to finish off the season.
Hey, what are you calling it early for? We still got 2 more rounds to go, mate.
Oh yes, we do actually. Now that I remember, it's yeah, but nevertheless, it's been a very, very good end to the round with a win and also bringing Aaron Oliver home with a second as well.
For the Team Phoenix Smokers to get a 1-2 in that race, man. The epic fuel saving was going on. Obviously, I had that spin in race 1, which meant I pitted and got my fuel and tyre stop out of the way. So race 2, I just tried to get to be the second car or third car in line out of those that had taken their pit stop, and then from there it was just a matter of hitting my number and driving to that, and boy, it was close.
Yeah, it certainly looked like it was close, especially for a number of drivers across both races, with a few running out. Was the fuel saving actually needing to be a lot to make it home across both races, or was it actually not too bad and it was just a matter of saving for like a lap or so?
Nah, it was pretty well 3/4 throttle for most of that second race, to be honest. I think I needed to save about a litre, which in these cars with such long straights and fast flowing corners is pretty hard to do. But luckily I got myself into a good position, and once I got to the sort of the front of those cars that had pitted with about 4 laps to go, I knew my numbers were looking pretty good, and I just kept trying to hit those sort of high 201s, and I knew I'd make it close to home on a high 201. And yeah, like I said, we got to the last corner, and as we entered the last corner on the last lap, she coughed. But I think if I had to push the whole way through the last lap, I don't think I would have won the race. So circumstance was right for me, and I got to roll a couple of corners, which definitely helped me make it to the line.
Yeah, absolutely. Very, very helpful to have that little bit of a gap you head back to the rest of the field. Well, obviously, still 2 rounds to go. You managed to finish ahead of Sonny Canchin in the second race by quite some margin as well, with the fact he finished down in 12th, so some very good points towards the championship. But obviously, 2 rounds to go. Is it still on the table that you could possibly win the championship, or do you think it's all but over?
No, it only takes one bad race. And, you can see it for myself. I had one small mistake and, just rode a curb on lap 1 and spun out, and that near on ruined it. So it's not over until the fat lady sings, and he definitely doesn't have a full round advantage over me yet. So it's still anyone's to play for. I think I finished 17th and he finished 12th in our various, pit stop races, and I won my race, but he didn't win his. So the gap probably stayed roughly the same in the championship. So look, we'll push on to the next round, and we'll have a go, and hopefully, like I said, I don't wish bad luck on anyone. Hopefully we can claw some points back and make it a good fight heading into the last round of the championship.
Yeah, absolutely. Looking forward to seeing what the final 2 rounds are going to hold. Well, before I let you go, just any thanks and any shout outs?
Yeah, of course, all the guys at Simworx Simulators for putting the series on. These guys doing a fantastic job, and their equipment is second to none. Wolfchester Automotive Consumables do a great range of, consumable sprays and stuff for karting and all sorts of automotive accessories. So I got a can of their karting degreaser not that long ago, and man, it cleans the go-kart up really good without leaving any of that sticky residue behind. Duo Trading, if you're ever in the need for oils, good Tasmanian family-owned business there for Duo Trading. AMD Freight, KP Tech, Haynes Constructions, Rinaldi, Automotive Towing, Phoenix Smokers, who support myself and Aaron, so it's awesome to get a 1-2 for Phoenix Smokers tonight. And, of course, my favourite coconut-scented Palmer's Body Butter. Can't thank Palmer's Australia enough to jump on board with this season, and stay tuned next week. I think we might be running a special livery to bring Palmer's to the front.
Well, look forward to that livery and what that machine looks like, and hopefully we can see it in victory lane. Well, that was Lee Harrison, and I believe you're standing by with our second place finisher by the slimmest of margins, Fonty.
Yep, there we go. Aaron Oliver, well done on your second race result there. Not certainly the result that you wanted in race 1. Give us a little bit of insight into what happened there. It was pretty hard contact with the car in front of you. I'm sure you would have been a little bit gutted with what happened there, mate.
Yeah, bloody race 1 just absolutely balls it up, to be completely honest, Yeah, unfortunately I tagged the back of Hobby on the first few laps and sent him off and caused a bit of a kerfuffle, which, sorry to you, Hobby, mate. It was an absolute, I just was way too deep under brakes and just took you out there. But yeah, then we went and pitted in that with the bit of damage that we had, and I forgot to tick my fuel. So I was running low on fuel, so that meant I had to fuel save for the rest of the race. So it really just ballsed up the whole first race, and that put us back to P20 out on track. But yeah, in race 2, we knew what we had to do right from the beginning. We knew that we'd already done our tyres in race 1, so it was just a matter of fuel saving the whole race. And luckily, I had the boys in front of me, and I had a number I was working towards, just making sure that I had about 1.2 litres of fuel worth a lap. And yeah, I just managed to hang on there. And then on the last lap, I just went full push, and the couple of guys ran off at turn 1, and that set me up well. And I thought actually it might have got a little bit more of a slowdown, but apparently it didn't happen. So it was more of a tussle, and yeah, came across the line just in a very close P2. But overall, really happy.
Yeah, no, fantastic drive there, Aaron. I was a little bit surprised too. I thought Ashley was gonna drop way outside the top 3 there, but either all, great result for you there in the second race. You nearly ran out of gas. Well, you did run out of gas at Bathurst last week and managed to take the race win by the smallest of margins. Not quite the race win tonight, but P2, still great for your championship points and great for your team.
Right, boys. We were able to. Well, Lee and I could have won 2 results tonight, so couldn't have been happier. You know, it's a perfect team result. It gives us maximum points, that's for sure. But yeah, you know, at the moment we know we're already out of the championship after that drop round, or that round we dropped out a couple of rounds ago. So it's just a matter of getting results, and it looks like I've got my head all around the idea of fuel saving and that. So we've got a good thing going. So we'll try and continue it on for the rest of the season.
Yeah, certainly right. I was wondering if you were going to make it 3 races in a row where you had to just putt over the line there, but not quite in that last race there. Fantastic job for yourself. Fantastic job for Lee and the team, and anyone you would like to thank tonight, Aaron.
Yeah, absolutely, guys. Can't do it without the guys from Palmer's. Yes, supporting us along the way. They're the naming right sponsor of our car for this season. Extreme Air Conditioning, Phoenix Smokers, and then to all our real life racing guys, Penrod Oil, Joe Morano from Harcourt's Real Estate, Repco Australia, Murray Bridge, MB Weldon Engineering Co., Revolution Race Gear Adelaide, Living the Dream Australia, Murray Bridge Batteries, Motivate Training, and Open Pit Lane. Cheers, guys.
Cheers. Thank you very much for coming and having a chat with us, Aaron, and we wish you all the best for the remaining rounds of the season. Cam, last interview of the night. Ashley Norman going to jump in and have a chat with us and fill us in on how he didn't get a bigger slowdown penalty on that last lap.
I'm not quite sure. Got a bit lucky, to be honest.
Yeah, it certainly was a very, very lucky situation, as it could have gone pear-shaped very, very well. But nevertheless, it's still not too bad of a night result for you. Obviously, a podium in race 2. It probably could have been a second if Aaron didn't quite pip you to the line, but not too bad of a result overall with a 12th and a 3rd.
Yeah, I got a little bit shafted in the first race. Got sort of pushed off track a couple of times, and then got a pretty heavy hit about halfway through the race. But that's the good thing about these race formats, sort of have the opportunity to come back from it. So yeah, I was sort of pushing at the start of the second race to see if I could build a gap and then start fuel saving, but didn't really work. So I had to sort of drop back and then let Lee in front. Otherwise, I was not going to make it.
Yeah, obviously, fuel saving a very, very big thing tonight with the fuel tank restriction not quite making it too easy. But as far as pit stop go, did you find it was a lot easier to do what you did, or did you have an original plan of doing it a little bit earlier or later?
Wasn't quite sure, to be honest. I was just sort of, I knew last week at Bathurst that Aaron got the win when he pit in the first race. So I was sort of thinking that would probably be the best way to go. But nobody else seemed to be doing it, so I just sort of kept going. And then I got hit, so it just forced me into the pit stop anyways. But obviously that's worked well.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, obviously 2 rounds left in the championship. You haven't done too bad across the entire season, but you're looking forward to the final 2 rounds at all?
Yeah, don't even know what tracks we're doing, but yeah, just trying to sort of stay consistent. Last couple of rounds haven't been too bad. Haven't sort of lost too many points. So yeah, that should be a good finish to the season. Hopefully Marty's back next week, and we'll have both chicken up cars together.
Yeah, certainly. Well, before we let you go, just any thanks and any shout outs you want to give?
Yep, just following Marty's footsteps. Just shout out to him and Mitch. Mitch had a bit of a shocker last night in the GD4 league. But yeah, and cheers to you guys for putting everything on.
Well, thank you very much, Ashley, and we look forward to seeing you next round, hopefully on the podium. Well, Fonty, it's been a really, really good night of racing, a lot of action going on, still 2 rounds to go in the championship, so all to play for. We head to Indy next week for the road course. It's looking like it's going to be another draft action-packed race.
Oh yeah, Indianapolis road course is a fantastic venue, and draft aplenty at this track, always drafting in the series. Been a great event tonight and great racing there. Well done to Lee Harrison for the second race win, and great result for Leah Harrison, Aaron Oliver and Ashley Norman there, finishing at top 3. 4th place went to Wayne Losh, which, yeah, fantastic drive from him, and Miles Moroz there in 5th. Really enjoyed tonight's event and can't wait for next week, Cam.
Yeah, absolutely. Cannot wait for next week with the fact we head to Indy. Well, we're going to sign off here of what's been a really, really good night of racing. 2 rounds to go. The championship still to play for at the end of the day, so still plenty of points up for grabs as well as results for the drivers. Well, thanks to Simworx and all the sponsors of the series, Phoenix Smokers, Rinaldi, Automotive Towing, and KP Tech, and everybody else for supporting the series. It's been great to have you on, and thanks to Fonty as well for staying up with me and broadcasting the series. It's been fantastic. Fun all season long so far. So we will see you next week for the round at Indy, where we're going to see what's going to happen at the penultimate round of the championship.
When your business relies on the highest level of service and support, trust Duo Trading to be your complete service provider. Duo Trading can provide your business with a complete local supply solution. Duo Trading, Tasmanian supporting Tasmanians since 1976.
Fantastic. This is GT racing right now.
He's got tracks and he's got rid of the outside. Both of them. Maloney.
Oh, he's taken Anderson. Anderson's up top.
Oh my God. Oh, big crash. Oh my goodness, half the field's going to get rolled.
This is very close. These guys I want to make their way through the field very quickly. Oh, here we go. Oh no. That's massive. This is it. This is over. I can't believe this. Oh my God.
God, what?